What is going on, degenerates? You got Kyle and Cole from Sports Pulse here, bringing you guys an NFL Week 5 preview breakdown. All
All
right,
right, hopping right into the first game. We got a nice matchup in London town. You know exactly what this pick's going to be. Minnesota Vikings 4-0. Who would have thunk it? Oh, yeah, that's right. Me. We have the Vikings -2.5. Going to be hammering that. The Jets are pretty much a dumpster fire right now. Salah losing the locker room. They're losing faith in their coaches.
fire the coach, pick up Adams.
It's a mess. They're not getting Adams at least in time for this game, but yeah, it's just a mess. Vikings, London, it's kind of their home away from home. They haven't ever lost a game. I believe it's 4 games in London that they've all won. Never lost there, and they're hottest team in the NFL right now. Sam Darnold, my dad, actually, you can fact check that. He's been on fire, playing like an MVP candidate through the first 4 weeks. Whether or not that continues, I like the Vikings pretty much. Just lock it in. Should be free money.
Yeah, I don't think there's really much we need to say more than that. And Sam Darnold's playing out of his mind. Aaron Rodgers is playing like an aging old man. He's not getting his receivers the targets they need. They're not getting quality balls thrown to them. Some of these passes leave you wondering, is this even Aaron Rodgers playing? And I think the Vikings are just a more complete package. Addison last week came back. Vikings almost sold the lead to the Packers, but they didn't. Addison was balling out of his mind. Schmoopy here predicted an Addison first touchdown if you were in the Discord. All I'm
Two
saying, man.
tutties.
All I'm saying, he predicted that. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
this is going to be Vikings all day. Away games, there is something to the under, but that's a pretty low under, so I'm not going to touch that too much. And we got the Panthers taking on the Bears. And this is a shit game. I didn't do too much research into this game at all, and honestly, I don't plan to. I think
Panthers, Bears.
you have to take the Panthers. In my opinion, I picked the Panthers against the Bengals. That was a shit pick, but I'm gonna back it. I'm gonna go again. Panthers money line, hammer it. Andy Dalton. If Sam Darnold didn't exist, he would be locked in for comeback player of the year. Aaron Rodgers sucks. He's not getting nominated for shit. He's gonna go back into that cabin, start taking his ayahuasca again. It is what it is. All right. The Bears are not laying 4 here against the Panthers. They are at home. I understand that's a 3-point advantage, which makes it a pick 'em game. But I think the Panthers are like that. Deontay Johnson finally has a quarterback that can throw him the ball. He's not dealing with this shitty ass Steelers quarterback. He's got Kenny Pickett throwing him balls. He's got Bryce Young. He has Andy Dalton, tried and true. Nothing special, but he's going to get the ball to Deontay Johnson, who is an elite receiver. I'm probably going to be looking to take his yards again on the over. Andy Dalton should go over. And I like this a lot for the Panthers. Give me that +4 all day.
Yeah, much like me with the Vikings, Kyle seems to have a loving relationship with the Panthers and Andy Dalton for some reason. I think you pretty much summed it up. Caleb Williams still trash. I don't see that changing anytime soon. As long as he's on the Bears, he's going to be garbage. Yeah, I like the Panthers here, but personally, I'm going to be staying away from this game. I try not to bet on the games where there's just two dumpster fire teams. So
I think Caleb Williams is trash, but this Panthers secondary is garbage. He can air it out. Got Romo Dunze on a 35-yarder here and there. That's all it takes to beat the Panthers. So obviously, I'm messing around a little bit on the money line. I do lean towards the spread, but I think I'm going to look more towards the over in this game. Two trash offenses, but also the Panthers defense cannot stop shit. So I think that'll kind of cancel out for the Bears' lack of offense. And we got the Browns coming to take on the Commanders. The Commanders are surging. They have been hot this season. I told you they would be. I told you Jaden Daniels is going to be the best rookie quarterback. Watch the week 1 breakdown. I told you guys. I'm gonna keep running it back on them. I think this is a nasty spread. I like 2.5 a lot more for the Commanders here, but I think I'm still leaning there. Diddy is not playing good in the quarterback. I think Amari Cooper's due to have a good week against the Washington Commanders secondary that has been giving up touchdowns to wide receiver ones. They've given up 1 or 2 touchdowns every single week to the wide receiver one. I think you can look to take Amari Cooper for a touchdown, maybe ladder his yards up a little bit. But I think it is going to be the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is playing some phenomenal football. Terry McLaurin has been unlocked. He finally felt what it feels like to have a ball hit his hands for the first time in his entire tenure, and I think he's going off, man.
yeah, I mean, Jane Daniels is just lighting the world on fire, and this is still early in his season. So this is, before presumably he even has the entire offense figured out. There's still going to be working through a couple things, and I think just as the season goes on, he's going to solidify himself as one of the best young quarterbacks in this league. Kind of branching off what Kyle was saying about him all year so far. I agree. I would definitely look for an alt spread here, -2.5. I'm not sold on the Browns whatsoever.
Ravens and the Bengals. This has all the works to be a good game, but sometimes Joe Burrow just lets you down, man. The Bengals have some questionable performances, but usually that is early in the season. We expected that. We predicted that. We worked with that. They bounced back last week. Really hard fought win against the Carolina Panthers. Andy Dalton and Joe Burrow both throwing some questionable balls that game. But the Ravens looked absolutely phenomenal against the Bills. They halted that offense, stopped Josh Allen, and I think they're going to do it again to Joe Burrow here. In my opinion, it's the Ravens -2.5 all day.
Yeah, Ravens. They look like the team to beat in the AFC right now. I know they lost early on in the year. Can't really fault them too much for that. Week one, it's always weird for every team, every game. I am completely sold on Lamar. I'm riding that hype train, and everyone else should be after another MVP year last year. He's looking great again this year.
Derrick Henry has been having a career season. If he continues at this pace, this will probably go down as the best running back season ever in the NFL. If he can keep it up, avoid injury and everything, the Ravens blocking it's just insane. They cannot stop him. They have a guy, he's a fucking lineman that lines up at fullback, and if you watch the game, there was one play where he had one Bills defender on each of his arms pushing them both back for Derrick Henry. And that guy got a touchdown later in the game, man. You can't make this shit up. The Ravens have an elite offensive unit, an elite rush game, the best in the league, the best I've personally ever seen watching football. And I think they're going to run it down the Bills' throats all game long. Give me Lamar's over. Give me Derrick Henry's over. Give me Justice Hill on the receiving yards over. He's catching some screens and taking off. He's quick. I like the Ravens a lot. We got the Bills and the Texans. This game right here, if you asked me a week ago, I probably would have said the Bills, but after how the Bills looked, I don't know if I'm leaning Texans. I think I'm going to stay away from this game. Do you have anything to say about this one?
Yeah, this is a full fade game for me. Both teams not looking too hot. Coming into the year, super high expectations for both teams. The Texans just barely escaped the win last week against the absolute shitbag Jaguar team. So not a fan of picking a side in this one. I'm just gonna hope for a good game.
I don't even have any props to give you. Usually when we have a fade
Yep.
game, I like to give a couple props, but there's just nothing. There's nothing I'm liking, man. I did a little quick look. I don't know. I'll find something later in the week. We'll send it out in the VIP, but I got nothing for you right now. Speaking of heaters, we got the Colts and the Jaguars. Now, I don't understand why the Colts are underdogs because I think their team gets better with Anthony Richardson injured. I've been talking shit about this guy every single week for the entire season. I think he's trash. I think he's overrated. I'm also just really salty because week 0, I was talking him up a little bit, and then he kind of shit the bed and started throwing these crazy picks. So I'm getting my get back on him. Anthony Richardson, if he stays out, I love the Colts +3 right here.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chance that Richardson plays this week, to be honest. And I'm not ready to call him a bust or anything, but he's been struggling mightily. They got Joe Flacco coming in as their backup, starting this game, presumably. He played well enough to get them the win last week against the Steelers. I Again, the Jags are just a dumpster fire. Anywhere you could possibly be bad as a football team, they are that. I'm not entirely sure why they're favorites here. I mean, obviously it's a division game. Obviously the Jags are at home. Still, I would definitely hammer the Colts +3 here.
Yeah, another thing, I was kind of looking at this early in the week. I was potentially going to nuke the Jaguars. God, I'm glad I didn't. But Jonathan Taylor also with a high ankle sprain. No real updates yet. I don't know if he's going to play. If you have Joe Flacco, I don't think that really matters. Joe Flacco does not hand the ball off. He's throwing 40 times in a game. He doesn't give a shit. Jonathan Taylor was going to get no usage with Joe Flacco in the quarterback slot, anyways. So I think you can look for these receivers to maybe have some lower numbers based off a reflection of Anthony Richardson's poor quarterback play in the first few weeks here. I think Pittman should finally be getting targeted. I don't know why Richardson hates him. Should finally be getting targeted, finally be getting those yards. I think the Jaguars, oh man, catch me dead before you catch me laying the spread with the Jaguars. We got the Dolphins and the Patriots right here. Another just grueling game to bet on with a 36.5 over under because neither team has an offense. I mean, the Dolphins don't even really have a defense either. Am I crazy for picking the Patriots here?
I'm not picking a side on this one. God, we said this last week. Some of these games are either really fucking good or just a bunch of bullshit. And I think this is one of those where it's just a bunch of bullshit. Dolphins, obviously, not looking too hot. Tyler Huntley is a QB. Honestly, there's not a whole lot to say about this one. Both teams trash. Division game, look at that.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys in the Discord talking about, oh, Tyreek's at 48 yards, dude. That's an overhammer. No, I talked him out of that bet. No, Tyler Huntley. First of all, he's a run first quarterback. He filled in very nicely behind Lamar, in my opinion. They have a very similar play style. He looks left, looks right, nothing's open, he's gone. He's taken off on the rush. I think he's effective in that role. I don't think he's a garbage quarterback, but he's not what the Dolphins need right now. They need a Tua who's just got that tard arm that can just hammer that shit down the field over the top to Tyreek. Like I said, I'll say it every week. Tua's not a good quarterback. He isn't, straight up. But he works well in that offense, and he's the best quarterback in the league for that offense. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, when he was with Tyreek, he's lighting it up. They're having great connections with how Tyreek's been playing recently. He just needs that over the top ball. He's faster. He's going to burn him. Without that, I think the Dolphins are trash. In my opinion, I'm leaning Patriots. You will not catch me betting on this game at all. Cardinals and the 49ers. The Cardinals were surging until last week when they got shut down by the Commanders. I think seven's a little tall to be laying with the Niners here, but I'm not going to bet a side in this. I might lean the Cardinals to keep this game close, but then again, Jaden Daniels just kind of exposed them a little bit, and I think Brock Purdy can do something similar with his insanely stacked wide receiver room. If this was 6.5, I'd say lay it down with the 49ers, but at that 7.5, I might have to lean the Cardinals.
Yeah, like Kyle said, the Cardinals, they got absolutely mollywopped last week by the Commanders. It wasn't much of a game. It wasn't very competitive at all. Personally, I think the Cardinals bounce back. I think they make it at least a close game, if not actually pull out the win on this one. Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. They got that connection. They're very very good at moving the ball down the field and scoring touchdowns. I I would definitely lean Cardinals here, and maybe I'll sprinkle a little bit on the money line. I'll have to figure that out a little bit more later, but I'm definitely leaning the Cardinals at this point.
Yeah, the Cardinals looked, in my opinion, like a team to beat until the second quarter last week, and then Kyler Murray just stopped remembering how to throw a football. I don't really know what happened
Yeah,
there. I don't know how you get locked down by the Commanders' trash ass defense, but that's what happened, man. So it's something to keep your eye on a little bit if you're looking to bet the dog here. And then Raiders Broncos, man,
oh boy.
Bo Nix last week, man. I checked. I was at work watching the games a little bit here and there. I checked my phone, looking at the box score. I see Bo Nix is like 6 for 16 for -8 yards. What the fuck? What did I miss, man? I had to go back and watch some of the highlights from that game. He's just dumping off screens and then they're getting slammed behind the line. There was negative offensive yards for a decent portion of this game for the Broncos. I think they were negative going into half. And then obviously he overthrew Cortland Sutton in the end zone. He had a great, phenomenal catch, an absolutely insane catch. He's a great receiver. It's a shame that he has to have Bo Nix throwing him the ball. I think Bo Nix has a lot of potential, though. He's got that good drop it off style where he's throwing it off to the screens. I think they got to work with that a little bit more to open up the deep ball. Once they get that figured out, they work on his accuracy. I think he'd be a great quarterback if he was sitting behind someone else for a year. If you look at the backups, you got Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham. Now, I'm not calling Zach Wilson an elite quarterback, nor am I calling Jarrett Stidham an elite quarterback, but I think he could learn a lot from sitting behind and watching from the sidelines. Bo Nix could for a couple games with one of these guys starting. I don't know if that would change the Broncos' overall record or how they're performing, but I think that would be a very good developmental tool for Bo Nix because right now he's just getting thrown to the wolves and they're eating him alive.
I don't want to talk about the Raiders,
Neither
man.
do
They
I.
fucking suck. Oh no, dude, what is with these shit games? Anyways, I'll say it again. Another divisional game, always weird. Both of these teams are just so fucking bad, and I don't see it getting better anytime soon. Devontae Adams obviously wants out of Las Vegas, and who can blame him? He's not going to be playing in this game more than likely, even if he isn't traded just yet.
Yeah, I mean, usually I like to look at who Pat Surtain's covering to bet their under on receiving yards because he's been an absolute clamp this season. The YouTube play, we hit that Garrett Wilson under. People were hating on that pick a lot, man. People were hating on that. They were asking me, "Are you sure you went to go on the under?" Yes, I did. And look at that, it cashed. I don't even know who the wide receiver one's going to be if Adams isn't playing. Who do I bet the under
Myers,
on? What's his line going to be? 27.5 yards? I'm not fucking doing that.
it might be like 13 or something.
Yeah, it just fuck that game. We're going to fire off these last three games here. Three pretty good games. You got the Packers and the Rams. Jordan Love came back and he showcased that he hadn't really learned anything from playoffs last year. As you know, that exit against the 49ers, he threw a very questionable ball that left me wondering for a while. And look at that, same thing happens. He gets a first down, nice first down, great pass, great completion, and then he just throws a Hail Mary on 1st and 10, right to the fucking end zone. I don't know what this guy's doing. His decision making, he walked out to the field in a Favre jersey. He's got a little bit of Favre in him, 3 interceptions. Hey man, he's gonna be a Green Bay quarterback. Might as well rep Favre. Favre, he did good things sometimes. But the Packers receivers
Emphasis
are
on this
looking good. Christian Watson's gonna be out again. That guy is an injury machine. Get him off the team. Obviously very talented, but he's so injury prone. He's not worth the cap space. And then the Rams, these guys have nobody. They got nobody. Stafford's throwing to ghosts, man. He's got nobody. It's Kyron Williams, and that's it. Kyron Williams is going to get a touchdown. He's their only offensive tool that actually works. Matt Stafford's like rusted. This guy's old as shit. He's elderly. I don't think he has too many seasons left in the NFL. And then, yeah, if Jordan Love is playing like he did, he had a lot of passing yards. So I think Jordan Love, he's good to go. I don't want to see him get injured in one of these trash games against trash teams, but it'll probably happen again with knee injuries. That's how it goes. But I think Jordan Love, if he's good to go, Packers should win this game. They should cover that 3 spread.
Giants at Seattle. Giants, they're not a great team. They put up a decent fight against the Cowboys last week. I think that's more to do with the fact that the Cowboys are ass more than the Giants are good.
That's a good point.
6.5, actually. I don't mind that spread one bit in this game here. Look for DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Get some good yards going. They got Kenneth Walker back, and obviously Charbonnet still there in the backfield. I like their offense quite a bit. The Giants, something to look at. They do have one of the best D lines in the entire NFL. That could potentially make running the ball a little bit harder on them. But then again, if the passing game is working, that's going to open up the run game because they're going to be obviously compensating for those receivers. DK Metcalf can be looking for a couple of deep balls in this game. I like the Seahawks -6.5 here. It is a big spread, but I think the Giants are that bad, and it's in Seattle, one of the hardest places to play.
Yeah, I love Seattle in this spot as well, man. I think this is a really big game. Seattle has a surging offense. All of their weapons are working good. They don't really seem to have like a big weak link that's holding them back right now. So somehow, man, somehow Geno Smith is playing good football. You wouldn't have caught me saying that last year. I'm hesitant to say it this year, even watching him. Geno Smith just cashed me out on a huge play. If you're in the VIP, you saw that. We hit for $500 on that play. I'm looking to run back Geno Smith again. I think he's got a great connection with DK Metcalf. He's not really targeting Lockett too much, but Smith and Jigba's getting those targets. I think this offense, the passing game is insane, and Kenneth Walker is a fucking beast. Did you see last week when he tackled down, went on his head, flipped over the guy, and then got
Yep.
back up? That's one of the most athletic things I've ever seen. He's insane. Then the last game on the slate, we're not going to talk about the Monday game. We'll do a separate video for that for a prize pick slip. Cowboys at the Steelers. Man, the Cowboys are dogs to the Steelers. Who would have seen this coming?
They beat the Giants last week. Good for you, dude. Good for you. You beat the fucking Giants. I don't know. Steelers, they're looking decent. I think they can bounce back. Justin Fields actually looks to be a serviceable quarterback for the first time in his entire career. But you never know what type of Dallas Cowboys team you're going to get, though. Could be one of those weeks where Dak and CD just go ham and absolutely light up the box score, or it could be an absolute dumpster fire like we saw earlier in the year.
Yeah, the Bears, they gave it their damnest effort. They tried to ruin Justin Fields. They tried. They tried really hard. They were succeeding for 2 years. Then finally, another young prospect surging out of USC came up to the NFL. He said, I want a chance. The Bears said, fuck you. I'm going to ruin your career too. Kicked Justin Fields to the curb. Took in Caleb Williams. They're in the process of ruining his career right now. Justin Fields is on the bounce back. Finally has a good coach, a coach that understands football, a coach that understands offense, a coach that can help Justin Fields utilize his tool set, his legs. The Bears are like, he can fucking run it if you want to, whatever. They're setting up QB draws for him. They're setting up beautiful plays. He's got a nice connection with George Pickens, obviously brewing up. Pickens had a huge week last week, like I told you he would. We laddered his yards in the Discord. We hit for a lot. And then, like I said, that connection, that's going to be something to look out for here against this Cowboys defense that has not been looking good. Malik Neighbors ran up the score, and I think George Pickens is going to do it again. I'm probably going to run back the ladder, run back the touchdown. Justin Fields was running the balls into the end zone. You could look for a Justin Fields touchdown instead of a George Pickens if you're a little hesitant for that. But I think this offense is playing great all around. Najee and Warren are doing everything they need to do. If one's injured, it doesn't even matter because they're filling that role very well. I just think this offense is kind of coming into their own, and I think they can handle this lackluster Cowboys defense. All right, that's all we got for you guys today. Again, join the Discord, join the VIP. The Discord itself is free. The VIP is $1 a day. You're missing out if you're not in there. We went up a crazy amount of units this last weekend, giving out plays every single day. And we'll catch you in the next one, man. Peace out.